Hello, welcome back to my haunted library and welcome to Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. I've got my friends here today and Batilda will be joining us later. Now, oh, there goes the Santa hat. You know, hats don't last very long with dogs. I don't want to make her uncomfortable, but let's just see how cute that is before it all comes off. It's already starting to rip off, but here's our Lucky as our little Santa, and I was trying to find like a reindeer costume for Lily, but they really didn't have anything. So she's in her Santa sweater, and everybody's doing great. There she goes chewing on it. I put on my sparkle for today because I was feeling very festive. This year I really had the Christmas spirit. I have to say, I just have been enjoying the whole process of wrapping up the gifts and eating way too much food. The purge will start immediately after or on January 1st. But it might have to wait till January 2nd, always tomorrow, you know how that works. But because every year it's been my tradition to throw a little open house party here at my studio where I have my library on every January 1st. It's like a kind of informal meeting of friends. I was never a big fan of New Year's Eve parties, like going out for New Year's Eve, probably because I can't stay up past midnight. On New Year's Day, I always throw a little bash. So I will probably do a live Instagram of that if you want to check it out. So before we get to the Christmas Eve ghost story tradition, I thought I would open a few Christmas cards where I'm assuming are just some mail. So let's check it out. As you know, I always love to receive cards and letters. That's why you'll find our address in the description below. Oh, this is lovely. Again, I'm hoping for a letter opener. I'm just going to have to buy one myself if I don't get it for Christmas. This is from, I recognize the name, our darling Elizabeth Sagewood. I just love her name, Elizabeth Sagewood. It's the name of like a Gothic author from like the 1800s. So go Elizabeth. Beautiful, speaking of Gothic, little Gothic looking sticker. Ooh, nice. Oh, happy holidays. Blessed Yuletide, Regina. Here's to a spooky 2023, Lizzie Sagewood. Oh, that's nice. And great bookmark. Thank you so much, dear. I've noticed that my booktube friends from Canada are especially considerate, just have to say. I've been to Canada. I took a pretty extensive trip. Joe and I did that a few years ago, and I'm dying to go back. We went to Toronto, Montreal, which I loved. I mean, that's one of those cities as soon as I stepped out, and this was in February, so it was very cold there. Snow everywhere. But as soon as I stepped out, it's kind of like when I went to New Orleans for the first time, I'm just like, I could live here. Like, I could live in this city. Whoa! Lucky is really something. She is something. Okay, next one up. I'm not sure. Oh, I think this is my friend Edie. Edie Lewis. Whoa. Thinking of you, very sweet, and wishing you the special joys of Christmas. Hope you're having a joyous and spooky holiday season, always. And I hope Batilda is keeping out of trouble, LOL. Edie Lewis. All right, Lucky. It's interesting I have my dogs here today because today's theme, Christmas theme, for my Christmas story, my spooky Christmas story, the theme is dogs, is what I'm trying to say. And it makes sense because both of my dogs were Christmas dogs. Lily is 13, or she's going to be 13. She was born a couple days after Christmas. She was from my sister's dog's litter, a lovely dog named Bella, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And my sister had a bunch of out-of-town relatives there, and while her dog Bella was in labor, so it was a very stressful time. All right, Lucky, come on. Anyway, Lily's turning 13, so she's getting up there, and it's kind of breaking my heart, but you know, she's just one of those special dogs. And so's Lucky, but you know, there's something about Lily that, yeah, she's really special. Lucky was my Christmas present last year, and I'll try to put a picture here of what she looked like a year ago. She was so tiny. And of course now she's grown into a lot of trouble. So I appreciate the card, Edie. All right, I'm trying to balance these two. It's not easy. It's not easy when you have an old one and a young one. And I apologize for the squeaks, but she's a little bit insistent. She's got a big ego, this one, and she's very alpha. Stop. Okay, this is a card from, Alex. The lovely Alex, the bookubus. 'Tis the season. Speaking of dogs, okay, we're on the same wavelength here. Cute dogs. 'Tis the season for sending holiday happiness to people as amazing as you. That's really sweet. Dear Regina, wishing you a Merry Christmas and best wishes for 2023. Hope it's a great one for you and Batilda. It's nice when they remember Batilda. Love from Alex. That's really sweet. Alex is a lovely lady. I hope to meet her someday. I might go to, I'm trying to remember. There's some con, like horror con, that's going to be in Pittsburgh. I haven't bought the ticket yet, but I'm looking to do that and hopefully hook up with Alex, who lives in Pittsburgh, and I think she plans on attending. Oh, Priscilla. This is from Priscilla. Anyway, how cool would that be? Because I've never met any of my YouTube booktube friends or horror-tube friends, anybody in real life or IRL. See how cool I am? I know that because I looked it up because I kept hearing it. All right, this is from Priscilla, the lovely Priscilla, who is a fabulous writer. And, she has gorgeous handwriting too. I don't know if you can see that. A little bird told me that Priscilla, who wrote an incredible short story, which I'll link below. It's really good. You should definitely check it out. I was so impressed. The Hay Bale, really good folk horror story, perfect for Halloween. I think is around the time it came out. But I believe she has a new book coming out in the new year, which I'm very excited about. And speaking of new books, make sure you stay tuned for more news about bookworms, which really that's what's been keeping me busy, is reading all those submissions. I'm over halfway through finally, and I kind of stopped for a couple days because just for Christmas, and plus I don't want to send out any rejection letters during the holidays. So after the new year, I'll pick that up again, but that will be coming out probably in February. I hope to do, I thought maybe doing 6 issues, even if I get 4 issues out for the first year. I think that would be great. So yeah, I've been busy with that. I just read a really good book that I will be reviewing in Bookworms called Gothic by Philip Fracassi, I think is how you pronounce his name, Fracassi. I had just about given up on new horror, as you know, and I took a chance. I thought the cover looked really cool. I took a chance and downloaded a copy on NetGalley, and I absolutely loved it. I will be doing a full video about that in the new year, as well as some other things. So one of my New Year's resolution is to try to do a few more booktube videos every week, maybe 2 instead of 1, but you know how it goes. Anyway, where was I? Oh, new books. I also have a new book that will be coming out in the new year. Now, last year, this past year, I didn't quite get out a book a month. I kind of got lazy after October. I think my last release was in October, but boy, I put out a lot of fiction last year, a lot. So I needed to kind of take a break, but I do have a new book coming out, and that is called Carney. I've been working on this book for years. I wrote the first draft. Now I'm just kind of slowly starting to go back and do that. Always fun. I don't even call it a rewrite. I just go through it a few times and then I send it off to this new editor. I have a proofreader who's really good, and then he and I go back and forth a bit, and then I put it out there. I think that's all the cards I have. I know I have a Secret Santa coming, but I don't think that's coming till tomorrow. I did organize a BookTube Secret Santa, but I did it way too late. So, no one's expecting their gifts till probably after Christmas, and that's fine. Christmas should be a time of giving and fun and worship, if that's where you're coming from, or just enjoying time with family, or not. I also know that Christmas can be a moody time for people, especially people who are estranged from their family, or maybe wish they were estranged from their family. That happens too. So it's fraught with all kinds of emotions, and I always think of Christmas as a time where I reconnect with the kid in me, who just loved that feeling of Christmas where, that one week you got off from school felt like an eternity. And my cousins from the city, we lived in the country, but my cousins from the city would come, and I'm sure it drove my mother crazy to have so many kids, but they would come for like at least a few days and stay overnight. And I remember camping out in our living room and under the Christmas tree. And we would have these amazing sledding parties. And, Christmas brings me back in touch with that. Usually I read a story from Edgar Allan Poe, but this year I wanted to think about a story that really gives me chills, like seriously gives me chills. And this always does it for me. And I've shared it with a lot of people. You may have heard of this because it was kind of going around the internet maybe about 10 years ago. But this is a true life, mysterious, paranormal story, I guess you could say. A story that was written in the New York Times in 2007 by Dick Cavett. I don't know if I'm dating myself here. Dick Cavett, I guess he's still alive. I hope so. He was a talk show host, kind of like a Johnny Carson back in the day, certainly when I was growing up. And he became friends with the English actor Basil Rathbone. Basil Rathbone famously played Sherlock Holmes, like The Hound of the Baskervilles, and tons of other movies. You can probably watch them on YouTube. I try to catch them on TCM every once in a while, and believe me, they're really, really good. So this is a true story about something that happened to Basil Rathbone that is very disturbing that he told Dick Cavett about. So let's begin. Rathbone was entertaining a friend one night at his home in the Hollywood Hills. Both men were keenly interested in dogs and their breeding. His friend had brought with him 2 handsome specimens. As it got late, the 2 friends had a parting drink and called it a night. The friend and the canines got into the car and drove away, but sadly, not very far. As Rathbone turned to go back inside, he heard the screech of brakes and the sickening sounds of a ghastly car crash. His friend and the dogs were killed instantly. In deep shock and with the thought, he was just standing here, pounding in his aching head, Rathbone heard the damned phone begin ringing. Mechanically, he picked it up and heard the voice of an MGM Studios night switchboard operator. "Sorry, Mr. Rathbone, but I have a woman on the line who simply must talk to you. She says it's desperately important." Probably some smitten fan, he thought as the operator said, "Sir, I've never heard anyone be so urgent. She hopes she'll know what a certain message means." Rathbone, impatient and in a daze, snapped, "For Christ's sakes, put her on and be done with it." The woman was calling from her home, located way to hell and gone on the far side of Los Angeles. She had a low and cultivated speaking voice and identified herself as a trance medium and clairvoyant. At that time, the movie colony was going through one of its periodic infatuations with psychics, astrologers, table-tipping seances, Ouija boards, and such. Rathbone scorned all such claptrap, but he said, the woman's voice was so compelling. "I have for you, sir, what we term a calling of urgency," she said. "It came to me with such impact that although not knowing its meaning, I simply had to find you. The message is brief. Here it is in its entirety. Traveling very fast, no time to say goodbye. And then, there are no dogs here." It's pretty creepy, right? And it concludes with, "The next time I saw Rathbone," FYI, he lived at 135 Central Park West, "more years had gone by, and he was in the act of receiving a summons for letting his dog Ginger off the leash in Central Park. I thought he might have decided, looking back, that it had all been some sort of bizarre coincidence, or maybe a highly original prank. He said, At the time, of course, I was quite shaken by it, and now I am still shaken by it. Well, I think you could probably guess from the visuals and the photos that I included in the story is that Basil Rathbone was an enormous dog lover. So I think that story about there not being dogs wherever his friend ended up was disturbing. And it's disturbing to me too as a dog lover. So I thought I would share some video I've taken when I've taken the dogs out at night for their nightly walk, and taking a look at in my neighborhood of all the beautiful lights and decorations that people have put together, while I read a poem that Basil Rathbone wrote about his dog Moritz, who is pictured at the end of the story, and his grave. I think it adds a melancholy tone to the paranormal story. So I will begin with this lovely poem while we look at some pictures of my neighborhood with my pups. Come wintertime and summertime, come sweet and cleansing rain, come springtime and the autumn, both sun and moon shall wane. Come seed time and flowering and harvesting the grain, the earth will cease and time grow old, but we shall meet again. 'Twas not for naught we walked the fields, the sidewalks and the lanes, sharing our hopes, our fears, our doubts, beliefs, our joys and pains. And though I, with human weakness, have not always understood, you with your dog devotion blindly believed me good. Now you will sleep a little while and dream in peace, please God. Then one day I shall follow you and sleep too beneath the sod, to rise with you and walk again with a vague sense of remembering that we had loved in other lives before this new ascending. So I hope you are having a wonderful holiday. God bless, and we will see you in the new year in our haunted library. Bye!